Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Content Culture. Today we have a very special guest, the wonderful Kristin Hopkins, who is on Matt James's season of The Bachelor. And I think she's just going to go right into it and tell us a little bit more about yourself because we are so excited to chat with you today.
Hi, ladies. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here. Like you said, I'm Kristin. I was on Matt James's season of The Bachelor. But beyond that, I'm an attorney. I live in New York, originally from Virginia. And, I'm just trying to live my life and be a hot girl in these streets this summer.
Hey, we love it. And as like a fellow Virginian, I love to see it.
Oh my God, where are you from?
Nova.
Okay, I'm from Virginia Beach.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So before the show, had you ever watched before or were you a fan?
I had never watched The Bachelor before I went on the show. Actually, my friend who I worked with at my firm, she nominated me to go on the show. She's like obsessed with The Bachelor, and all her friends were. And then when Matt was announced, she was like, "Oh, like there's this new Bachelor. He's really cute. I'm gonna, put in your application." And I was like, "You can do whatever you want, but like, there's no way I'm gonna even like get a call." And then like 2 weeks after that, they called me, and I was like, "Is this a joke or what is what is happening here?"
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was shocked. I was like, "What is? I don't even know what this is right now."
Oh my gosh. So did you know that you were going to be on Matt's season, or you didn't even know who the lead was going to be at that point?
I knew it was going to be Matt. So yeah, Matt was announced in like June, I think like the middle of June. And my friend like submitted me like the next day. And then they called me about 2 weeks after that. So like I knew it was going to be Matt.
Gotcha.
Would you have gone on if it were someone else, or were you like, Matt's pretty fine, like I'll go on for him?
I definitely thought Matt was fine. I mean, I would not have gone on if The Bachelor was white. I wouldn't.
No, we feel that. We love that.
I would not have been like in the woods with my shower cap on for a white man.
We talk about that all the time because we joke about how some of the group dates are like anti-Black women's hair, and we're always like, Kristin, the realist, went out there with the shower cap. She was like, absolutely not.
I really was not about to get my hair messed up. Like, I will do a lot of things, but like if it's gonna mess up my hair, count me out.
So what was it too, like with I know you talked about, you said if it was a white bachelor, you wouldn't go on. Is it something that you're interracial relationships that's just not, like you're not open to that? Or is it more just like, the franchise itself and like, if it's a white bachelor, it's most likely not going to be the relationship that you're looking for?
I mean, just from some of the bachelors that I looked up, after I was like in the casting process, like none of them seemed to be into Black girls. And so it just didn't seem like a Black girl stood a chance with, a white bachelor. I am open to dating anyone. Obviously, my preference is a Black man. But, I definitely have my receptors open because I'm 28 and I'm getting up there. So I'm like, Lord, if he comes in an alabaster package, I'm going to take him.
I love it. As a woman who is also married to a white man, I totally understand that. And you can definitely have those reservations. And you have to have those tough conversations when you're getting into a relationship like that, because I think there's a lot of cultural differences, just obviously societal things, especially here in the States, that a lot of people don't really put into perspective. And I think we saw a lot of that unfolding in real time when we were watching that season.
Yes. I definitely think that was like a big thing that was coming up. I think not just for like between like Matt and the white contestants, but like Matt and the Black contestants as well. Like those conversations have to happen regardless of like what race you are, especially if you're a Black person in America. Like those conversations are happening, every day about, how you're viewed in this country.
For sure. Speaking to that, like, is there anything you felt like you wish they had showed more of you on the show, or like with Matt and like the conversations you had?
I mean, definitely we had a couple conversations that weren't shown. I think there were more like fun conversations because I feel like the only conversation you saw me having with him was me asking him about being the first Black bachelor, which obviously is an important question that needed to be asked. But like there was like more fun stuff that we talked about. And so I just don't want to be the girl who like asked him about like a serious question. I want to be like, I can have interesting and fun conversations as well. So some of those I wish were shown.
And I'm not sure, do you watch any other reality dating type shows?
Love is Blind. I loved Love is Blind. I mean, I definitely watched like the stuff on the VH1 back in the day, Flavor of Love,
Yeah.
I Love New York, I Love Money. Like I watched all of those. I don't watch as much reality TV now, but I kind of know about all the shows and like what's going on.
Because I feel like, especially with some of those shows that you were mentioning before, what they did was they did a really good job of casting um, Black people who were interested in Black women, monoracial Black women, and also just like open to even having those types of conversations. And I think
Mm-hmm.
recently, I know Nicole and I were fans of like Love Island and
Mm-hmm.
love how diverse their cast is getting and loved how historic this moment was with Matt's season of how diverse the cast was and to be able to see that representation. And then still kind of seeing like these storylines kind of being put in the back burner instead of kind of featuring something that would show like these beautiful, strong Black women out here killing it. I know there was like multiple attorneys and stuff on this season as well.
Yeah.
So what do you think is really kind of like that disconnects there? What do you think like casting should improve in terms of, finding leads who are open to dating monoracial women of color?
I think that's a start. I definitely think that if you're going to have a diverse cast, that the lead needs to be open to dating everyone in that cast and seriously considering everyone in that cast.
Mm.
And have history of dating women in that, like who look like everybody. And then I definitely think that, there's a difference. I definitely think that going on reality TV as like an attorney, I felt like there were things that I couldn't do versus some of the other girls who may not have had a
Mm-hmm.
job or may not have had like a more professional job could do or say or act like in certain situations. So I definitely think that, especially like for me and like Lauren and Maggie, I feel like there were times that we were just like, we're just gonna sit back and hang back because at the end of the day, we have a job that's paying our bills and we can't get into we can't get into this.
Right.
Yes.
I was going to ask that too, like related to that. Do you think you were held to a different standard, not just because you're an attorney, but because you're Black? Like, do you think producers and production of the show treated some of you differently or no?
I don't think so. I think the producers, especially like my producers, they were all very nice. They were all very helpful whenever I had any concerns. They were always there with anything that I needed. So I don't think, from my standpoint, that they treated us any type of way.
I feel like there was definitely a difference, though, in terms of who was allowed to have grace during your season from the social media backlash. I felt like there was times when people would come after, um, people who are a part of your cast who might have been a woman of color, but they'd say if it was Katie or someone else, be like, oh, they've made a mistake, something like this, instead of, coming after like Jasenia saying, oh, she's yelling at someone. So just something like along those lines. And how was it really for you with the social media, I think, kind of fallout that kind of came with being on this season? Did you find that it was difficult to kind of navigate?
Um, I feel like I was myself the entire way through. And so I feel like people knew what to expect from me. So if they knew I was going to be posting something that was very pro Black or very, against, what was going on, I think that my followers kind of expected that to come from me. So I didn't get too much backlash. I did not get as much as some of my other castmates did, thankfully. So, I was able to handle it okay, but I know that a lot of my friends, they definitely got a lot of really nasty DMs. And I just don't understand how people have the capacity to DM someone that they don't even know, they've never met, they've only seen through a screen, just these really nasty, hateful things. It's mind blowing to me.
Yeah, it felt like feedback and backlash of that season was so nasty. I felt like it was so hard to watch women have that. Who, kind of switching gears, but who from the cast and in the house are you closest with?
Lauren and Maggie, for sure. I love them. They're so great. They're both hilarious. And I was just in the Bahamas with them, which was so fun. So yeah, I love Lauren and Maggie so much.
That's awesome.
Yes.
I absolutely love them. And I love seeing all your photos and stuff. I was there double tapping everything that was coming on my feed when I could see people on the beach. I'm like, yes, girls, I love it. Support it.
We had such a fun time. It was like a very nice vacation for us to go on. So it was really great.
Now, you said did you say specifically you work in entertainment law right
I
now?
do, yes. Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty perfect because I know we actually took the chance to ask some people on Reddit some questions that they wanted to ask you. And
Oh my goodness. Okay.
yeah, they love you, girl.
No,
Don't
they
worry.
love you.
Don't worry.
You were a
They're
fan
obsessed.
favorite since the story came out on Twitter about you rescuing a fellow love. Like, yes.
Wait, let's switch gears to that. Can you talk about that a little bit more, just for people who don't know?
Yeah, it was definitely like, I think it was 2017. We were in New York at like an alumni event, and there was this guy at the event who didn't even go to our school, so I don't know why he was there. And we were just like, outside on the rooftop, and we had like we were just, hanging out and drinking. And this guy had all these like tickets, and he was like trying to give them to my friend to like get her to drink. And I was like, I'm just gonna stay by because like he seems a little sketchy. And then as we were trying to leave, he was like following us down to like the train and like taking like the same train in her direction. And she was in Brooklyn at the time. But I didn't even live in Brooklyn. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like stay with you because like this guy seems sketchy. He's like talking about her being a nanny for his kids and like all of this weird stuff. It was just like a weird thing. And so I just like stayed with her and like rode all the way to her apartment with her because this guy was sketchy.
That is crazy to me. And I feel like a lot of women, unfortunately, have stories like that. But we also just have this radar of just always kind of like being on edge of like being able to notice that. The fact that you were able to like pick that up and then no one else really, I don't know if anyone else kind of noticed those same things.
Yeah, it was weird. It was so weird. But like you can't like I feel like it's so hard, especially in New York, because you don't know if someone's like crazy or like have a knife or have like a gun or something. So you kind of have to like toe this line of like being firm but also being nice. And so it was just kind of like, we're gonna be nice, but like, because you might be crazy and kill us, but like, get away. We don't know you. But yeah.
Also crazy that he didn't even go to your school and was at your alumni event.
I don't know how he got in. I really like that's the question of the decade. I don't even know how he got into that event.
Well, I wanted to go back to that initial question when I was kind of discussing with you about your law career. So apparently you wrote a law article titled "There's No Business Like Show Business: Abandoning Colorblind Casting in American Theater." First of all, snaps. Absolutely love it.
Thank you.
I want to read it. But did your experience on the show, did that change anything or reinforce any of those opinions you had before being cast on reality TV yourself?
It didn't. It reinforced, definitely. Actually, it's hilarious because I actually, in one of the footnotes, I quoted The Bachelor at one point, and this was like even before I was even thinking about going on the show. I wrote this article when I was still in law school, and it was about some Black men who sued the show because they thought that they weren't being cast because they were Black. But the article really is just saying that, like, as a person of color, you bring your whole experience and like your skin color with you when you are on a stage. So an audience member can't really, especially like the lay person, can't separate a person's color with the character. So if you're going to be casting someone, you need to recognize that like this is a Black person. I need to make sure that the script aligns with what this person is saying, how this person is interacting with other people on the stage, how an audience member is going to perceive it, because sometimes colorblind, while we may think that's the best way to cast something because it gives everyone an equal chance, it usually doesn't.
Right. I think I know, like with Grey's Anatomy, I'm not sure if you that's how she approached the show with her casting Shonda Rhimes, and that was a good example because it's like you can do color blasting for these color blind casting for these roles, but then you still have to find ways to like alter it to make sure the story makes sense for these people and their characters and whatever they're trying to portray. Otherwise it can just be very jarring as an audience member to be watching it. Like, this isn't real
I feel
life.
like the only time that colorblind casting has ever worked has only been one time, and that's the Rodgers and Hammerstein with Brittany and Whitney Houston and Cinderella. That's the only time colorblind casting has ever worked. We don't question how the prince is Asian, the mom and dad are Black and white. We don't question how Bernadette Peters is white and has a white and Black daughter. We don't question it. I think that's the only time it's ever worked. Any other time, no.
You have to take it into consideration, right?
Exactly.
While your season was airing, another law question, you as a cast of contestants did something really unprecedented in releasing this statement after the Rachel, Lindsay, Chris Harrison interview. Did you get to use any of your legal training while you were like in drafting that statement or reviewing contestant contracts? Because I know sometimes there are things you can't post on social media while you're under contract with ABC.
So the girls who drafted it was 6 of the girls from our cast. I don't know if we are telling who was a part of drafting it. So I can't say about if I used any of my legal acumen in drafting it. But with my contract, at least, I definitely like looked over it up and down, left and right, just to make sure I knew what I could say, what I couldn't say, and things like that. And I still like go and check it to this day because I'm like, if I post this, are they going to come after me?
Not trying to get sued.
I'm really, really not. I'm trying to stay in ABC's, good graces because I, don't have the money to pay them out for anything.
Real talk.
And I don't want to pay them.
No, absolutely not.
Yes.
Well, what's your favorite part about being a lawyer now that you're kind of back to the normal society of life? Has it been issues like with your clients being like, oh my gosh, girl, I loved watching you on the show or something like that?
A lot of people, yeah. So a lot of people have realized that I have been on the show, which is like kind of awkward. So I'm like, I'm just here to like be an attorney, not like be like a reality TV person. So let's keep it professional. And then after we do, all of that, then we can talk about it. But no, it's been very, very normal, I guess the word is to say. It was before I left to go on the show, I was working at a firm, but now I'm working in-house. So things are definitely a little bit more chill for me on my end. I'm still doing a lot of contracts and things like that, which I love, but it's definitely not as intense as working at a firm was.
Very cool. That's cool that you're in-house too, because I know just from lawyer friends, that's like a little bit more like relaxed and not as uptight. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you think Rachel Lindsay was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you
go
off.
ahead. I was just saying that my life is good.
I was going to say, did you think that Rachel Lindsay was kind of like a blueprint of saying, oh, okay, well, she was able to be an attorney and go on this show and kind of still be respected and come back off?
Absolutely. I think when she was on Nick's season, that was the first like season of The Bachelor that I watched because I was like, let me see what Rachel did and how she behaved and how she acted so that I can act that same way because like she literally was able to go on the show, not, come out looking crazy or anything like that. So I was like, definitely, I was trying to follow her lead 100%.
Rachel Lindsay is always goals to me.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. She definitely is. She's so amazing.
Was that the only other season that you had watched? Was the Nick one?
So I watched Nick's. I watched Peter's. I watched. There was one on Netflix. It was like an older one. I think is his name Jason.
Yeah, I think Jason's is the one on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched that one, and then I think that was it. Yeah, I think I only watched those 3 seasons, and I was like, oh, let's see what happens.
I think there's some pretty good ones to go with, honestly, though.
Yeah, I thought so. So it was interesting.
Do you think if you would have gone on someone else's season, like now, I mean, you haven't watched all of them, but do you think you could have seen yourself going on in someone else's season?
No.
That's fair.
I'm trying to think of the other bachelors, and I'm like,
yeah, honestly,
I'm okay. We'll see what this next bachelor is.
Yeah,
and we'll see.
Who would you like to see as the next bachelor?
The next bachelor. So I didn't.
I know you only watched the finale, right?
I did only watch the last episode of Katie's season. So I really don't know any of the guys really from her season. The only guy that I think is really attractive from her season is Thomas. I know he's going to be on Paradise, so maybe he can get like a bachelor edit on Paradise. So maybe he can be the next bachelor because he's fine and really tall.
Yeah, that's my hope, honestly. I feel like we cut Thomas out too early from that process, and I think a lot of people would enjoy watching him.
I think so. Yes, he's a good-looking man. Very good-looking man.
He is. Would you ever do another reality TV show, dating or non-dating?
Definitely non-dating for sure. I think my days of doing a dating show ended. It started and ended within 2 weeks, and I'm done with that. But I definitely would do like a non-dating reality show for sure. But yeah, I'm trying to find a husband in these streets, so
same.
It's hard.
Yeah,
Same.
it is hard. It's very hard.
I only lived in New York for like a very small period of time, so I don't even like claim it like that. It was like an internship. But I just remember like seeing other people going through the dating. I'm like, how do you know? Because like you said, you don't know if people are out here trying to like come up here and stab you on the subway or just like, you know, have a weird eye looking at you. So
exactly. I'm not trying to be the inspiration for like Law and Order SVU at any point.
Right,
you know?
right, exactly. Like you will not catch me like on a true crime episode. No, thank you. It's very strange out here. And I was on the apps for like a little bit, but then I was like, this is too much. It's so weird. So I'm just out whenever I go out. I'm just like, Lord, I'm here. If he's here, I'm here. Let's make it happen. But we're just out here with vibes at this point.
Do you think? Oh, go ahead.
Is it weird dating like post being on reality TV?
So this one guy that I was talking to would always ask me about like Bachelor people or like what's going on. He'd be like, so like I saw, you know, a post that Bree was hanging out with so-and-so or Piper was hanging out with so-and-so. And I'm like, you want to go and DM Piper and Bree and ask them? Because I'm not going to tell you about like what is happening. And it was like a full guy, like very invested and interested in like what these people were doing. And I was like, I gotta go.
Sir.
It was weird. And then we talked to me about like Katie's season, and I'm like, I'm not the one.
I love it. So basically, it sounds like he was in the pit, which kind of puts me to my next question.
In the pit. Mm-hmm.
Are you in the pit?
So when I was during the casting process, I had no idea what the show was about. So I was listening to all these podcasts, and I did come across the Game of Roses podcast when I was like in, you know, trying to figure out like, what is this show? What am I doing? So yeah.
Yeah. Because I was going to say, I peeped the 4TRR and then it was gone. So I was like, interesting. Interesting.
But yeah, I listened to a lot of stuff, definitely, when I was trying to learn about the franchise and everything like that, because I just was a new person and just didn't know anything at all.
No, I would 100% do the same thing.
Do you think it's harder to date in New York or harder to date on the reality TV setting of something like The Bachelor? Like more emotionally taxing, I guess.
Ooh, that's a good question. Both are difficult. Because I feel like, at least on The Bachelor, you're only going after one guy, but it's like a bunch of girls after one guy. It's pretty much probably the same in New York too. You just don't know. Especially if you're on the apps.
Real.
So, I mean, they're probably the same. I would say The Bachelor's harder for sure. Because at least dating in New York, there are a lot more options than just the one that you have on the show.
Love it.
We did get a question from a William and Mary alum.
Ooh,
and so they asked, did you complete the triathlon?
Absolutely not.
Okay, and can you explain to our listeners what that is for like non-listeners?
The triathlon, what are the 3 parts? So you have to swim in the Crimdell, which is like this disgusting looking pond. I was not going in there. The second part is you have to run naked through the garden. Didn't do that, obviously. And the third part is what? I forgot.
Biking or something?
Now I gotta look it up. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Give me a second, because now I feel stupid. People are like, you didn't really go to William and Mary. And I'm like, I was a black girl. I was a black girl at William and Mary, so we weren't doing stuff like that. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Oh, jump off the wall of the governor's palace in Williamsburg. No, I didn't do any of that.
That sounds too much for me.
Yeah, that would not be my calling.
Like, no, like only people, like I said, who the alabaster package skin. They are the ones doing that. We were not.
That's their calling. It's not ours.
Exactly.
Is that just like a senior tradition?
You just have to do it before like you graduate. That's like your task or like your goal to do.
Interesting.
Not my ministry.
No. I'm glad though. I thought it was like an actual triathlon they were forcing all these students to do.
I would do that.
Pay off your loans, get to running.
I mean, well,
the loans, they may not be paid off ever at this point. Joe needs to
it's above me now.
Them. Joe just needs to let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then that's when I'll say, we did it, Joe. Okay.
Okay. But until then, I don't know what Joseph R. Biden is doing in that White House.
None of us do.
Really though.
So Kristin, what is next for you? What can we plug? What do we need to know about you and your fab life in New York?
I'm still just being an attorney, trying to enjoy the last few weeks of the summer. I caught a cold, unfortunately, so that's really upsetting to me. Not COVID, praise the Lord, but it was just kind of I had to take a week off of brunches and going out, which was very upsetting. But I think it was needed because I needed some rest. But I'm just trying to hang out with my friends, work. Obviously, I'm having another paper published, which is exciting. So that should be coming out soon, and I'm just going to be watching Paradise with the rest of you guys and talking trash on Twitter, which I love doing.
I love that. Do you think you'll be able to send a link to us whenever it goes live so we can share that as well?
Absolutely. Definitely.
With the other law article?
Okay, yes, I'll definitely send it to you when it comes out.
Perfect. Yeah, our Reddit friends were very curious because they were Kristin was liking some tweets on Katie's finale night. She was hinting at tea.
I don't think it's tea. I think it's all out in the open. People will show you their true colors if they're good or bad at some point. You just have to keep your eye open.
That was my thought too. I was I feel this kind of got covered in Women Tell All.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Which was, I think, what my tweet alluded to, was just this behavior is very similar to what we saw at the Tell All. So I'm just people will show themselves eventually. So I'm just gonna sit back and literally drink my tea.
I love it.
Love it. Because obviously social media is not everything, but it's we've seen kind of dynamics of what relationships post-show have looked like. And it has led to a lot of discussions of were the portrayals exactly what we were seeing kind of and being fed as the audience of kind of seeing, I don't know, who we would like to root for, I guess. Let's say it like that.
Yeah, and I think that you only see 2 hours of what actually happened within a week's time. So it's definitely hard to show every facet of every person when you're watching the show back. So I feel that's something important for audience members to keep in mind, that just you're only seeing a really short snippet of what happened during a whole entire week. So we are all rounded people with different lives, different likes and dislikes, and the way we act at this point in time may not be how we actually are. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're watching.
Yeah, sure. I love that, and I hope that people follow that rules for Bachelor in Paradise. I feel
so
we'll see, because I'm liking it. Did you watch the episode yesterday?
I did. I was loving seeing all of my beautiful friends on the beach. I hope that the season is going to be good, because from the preview, it definitely looked like it's going to get a little crazy. And Thomas is there too, so I'm fine.
Yes.
As you can see, I am thirsting over this man, which is not good.
I mean,
if he comes out of this not having anybody, I may have to slide.
Is this an exclusive?
I want to manifest that right now for you.
heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get to tagging. Let's put this in the comments. We're like, Thomas, I don't know if you know, this is a wonderful girl named Kristin.
Yeah, I'm gonna be yeah.
Sounds like power couple to me.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. So I'll keep watching and praying to the good Lord above that he doesn't end up with anyone.
Yeah. Kristin and Thomas. I like it.
I'm dead.
Love it
funny.
For you. That's basically just what our podcast episodes are anyways. It's just a bunch of girl chat, group chat type of things where we're slightly thirsting over people and
I love it. So it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, Tomi, did you have anything else before we let Kristin go?
I do not. And where can people find you on the gram? Just make sure to share all your little handles so then they can all follow you after this.
Yeah, so you can find me on Instagram at Kristin_Bria and on Twitter at Kristin B. Hopkins. Follow me. I think I am fun on Instagram and Twitter, but that's up for y'all to decide.
She is.
Oh, thank you.
Love it. Well, thank you again so much for joining us today. And that's pretty much it, guys. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, Kristin. You too. Bye.